How's my quad squad doing? It's the man, the myth, the legend, Quadmft here, back again with the Quad Father on Father Sunday.
Hey, what is up, Warriors? It's the Quad Father here. Thanks for having me back 2 weeks in a row now.
Of course, Quad Father. Do you have a light goal you want to set?
A light goal, 151.
151, ladies and gentlemen, right off the top of the dome. All right. We have anything to talk about today? Anything specific besides 151?
Yeah, you know, a lot of times when people are 16, they get a job.
Yeah,
right?
Typical, yes.
Yeah. Now, you got a job when you were 13, I think.
Well, I mean, technically, yeah.
Well,
I guess
yeah.
Technically not, too, though. But, okay, yeah.
Yeah, depends. Well, okay. If a job is something you do and people pay you to do it, that makes you professional, and it means it's a job, right? And,
yeah.
And I had to wait till I was 16 to get a job. Actually, I got a job when I was 15. I edited high school football films.
Oh.
Now, what I would do is I would go with my dad. He would he would actually, they like Super 8 millimeter tape, and he would record from the top of the bandstands, way up on top of where the announcers are. He would film them, and then I would go work all night long developing and splicing together those things.
That doesn't sound like fun.
Yeah, that's where I learned to like Mountain Dew. Because we would drink Mountain Dew all night long and work through the night till 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in the morning. Now you're sometimes up that late.
Yeah. Sometimes I wake up at 3 and stuff like that.
Wow. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for like DLC and stuff. But.
Yeah. Well, this was not nearly that fun. We didn't get to play video games.
Yeah.
You know, so that was the first job I had before I ever had a real job, and then I worked at the dreaded McDonald's.
Mickey D's.
Now, McDonald's, that was not a hard job to get. You don't need a lot of skills. But apparently it's an easy job to get fired from, which I found out.
All right.
Yeah. So
tell us about that. I want to hear about firing from Mickey D's.
Well, it's not as interesting as like jizzing on the Big Mac or something. It's a special sauce.
You didn't do anything to mess with the employees, or customers, right?
No. But when my friends would come in, I would give them free drinks and stuff.
Oh,
so
okay.
That was before they had you could fill up your own soda.
Yeah.
You could. So I just give them refills. And stuff.
Yeah.
So I was ahead of my time.
There you go.
Yeah, but no, anytime they'd ask me to work late, I would because I was started out frying burgers, flipping burgers.
Yeah. You
know what they do? That you put those little discs, those hockey discs that end up being burgers on the thing, and you press a button. Then it says,
it does it for you?
Press it down at 30 seconds. It beeps. Then again it beeps, and you flip it over. So it's really it takes the moron to
not
really mess
be
it
able
up.
to do it.
Yeah. But that's not why I got fired.
I hope not.
I got fired because I didn't show up.
Ooh.
I didn't.
You missed one shift.
One shift. I went to Magic Mountain with my girlfriend. I didn't know I was on the schedule, and they said, turn in your smock, your polyester.
Don't you think it's a lot easier just to like talk to the person who missed that one shift instead of rehiring a whole other person and retraining and?
Yeah, well, it's McDonald's. It's not not a lot of training, and they didn't like me because every time they would ask me, "Hey, can you work an extra couple hours?" I'm like, "Yeah, if you let me work drive-through. I don't want to be slaving over this hot stove anymore."
Yeah,
so let me handle the money, and that's good. So that was not a good start. Not a good start to getting fired.
Yeah.
But actually, right after that, I worked cutting trees or pulling weeds, and I
hold on. I want to hear some people's stories down in the comment section.
Oh,
right?
I
want to hear whether people have gotten fired, whether you're still at a job, what you're doing with your job. Comment them down below in the comment section below. Your job experiences.
Yeah, I want to hear or your dream job.
Yeah,
your dream job.
I mean, obviously, like CEO of Apple or CEO of whatever, making millions, not doing anything. Although I do think that the CEOs obviously do something. Yeah,
but not working. Yeah, my richest friend worked probably the least amount of hours.
Wow,
but he put in the grind.
He grinded. He grinded so he doesn't have to grind.
Yeah. There was so another job I had, which was awful. This is why stay in school, kids. Don't get a job, get a career. But anyway, I had stacking firewood. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. You also had the pulling weeds one that you talked about a little bit earlier.
Yep. No, but I would call myself a limb catcher. There was a guy up in the tree, and I would catch. I didn't really catch the limbs as he dropped them out of the tree. But no, this was totally different. It was like in old oak fields where they would chop down all those oak wood, and then they would split them, and then we had to stack them in the bed truck of a when they were selling them as firewood.
Yep.
That wasn't the bad part. It was about 110 degrees that day.
Jeez.
We were out there working. Of course, no shade because there's no trees. Yeah, and guess what they were doing to the field around us? Burning it.
Oh,
So we
wow.
we
So
were
it's
working like at
170
125
degrees,
degrees. Yeah, no, that was terrible. So I did not like that. And okay, so
Doesn't
how about
sound very
this?
fun.
No, how about this? So when one time I was in college, and I didn't have a lot of money, and
Yeah, it's college.
so I didn't work that much. I just didn't, if I
you
didn't have
weren't
to work, I
working.
didn't have to work. So I went to the mailbox one day, and the bank sent me a letter. They
Oh.
said, "Oh, your checks are no longer good.
What does that mean?
You're out of money. You bounced a check." So I wrote a check to
okay.
someone, and they sent it back. It's like $40, and I didn't have enough money to cover it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go out that day and get a job.
Oh, wow.
And I got a job at a retirement home.
What was that? What'd you do at a retirement home?
Well, I worked at I cleaned the dishes,
Oh.
pots and pans.
Doesn't
and
sound fun again.
No,
I
no,
mean, not a lot of work. Is fun,
but then I got to be a waiter for them.
okay.
So I got to do my, my smart ass stand up comedy, routine for a bunch of old people without teeth.
And they'd laugh.
Like, hey, I got you an extra soft piece of meat, because you can't really chew it, or
Yeah.
would you like me to blend that for you? They didn't
Yeah.
find me as funny as I did,
Oh.
but I had to entertain myself,
Yeah,
and that's one thing. As I look back at all my jobs, I found ways to make it fun. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like even when I was working in a cabinet shop and whatever, we would play. Well, maybe I shouldn't tell you this, but every time the boss would leave, we would play like wiffle ball.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we had a giant thing. We would, make one bench first base and those
Mm-hmm.
bricks second base, and we would just pitch the ball to each other. We didn't break anything.
Yeah.
And it's just a little bit of time.
Just had a good time.
I think we were overworked and underpaid, so we were taking it out on the
Through wiffle
owner.
ball. Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it is in school nowadays. Like
Wiffle
school,
ball?
No, school has like everybody kind of creates. I don't know about like games and stuff, but everybody
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know makes it a little bit. They do make it a little bit more challenging on each other, but it's also a little bit more fun when you're surrounded by 8 of your best friends or whatever, at school every day. If you were alone and it was silent, it was one-on-one teachers every day and
Yeah, like
stuff like
homeschool
that.
all day
Yeah,
long?
that you're not having fun with your friends all the time.
No, and usually your mom or dad are teaching you, and that's not as fun,
Yeah.
And you also don't get. I mean, nothing against homeschool, okay, but there's some cool things about having a variety of different teachers, because some are good and some some teach you things that your parents don't know, and that's,
Yeah, of course.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
So,
your parents aren't all knowing all the time.
I was almost a teacher. That was
Oh.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, not so
not
much.
anymore.
Okay, so I also worked at the Salvation Army.
Oh, what was that about? What did you do
I was a
there?
sniper.
Oh,
No,
wow.
I'm kidding. And I didn't ring the bell out front. No, that wasn't it. That was another kitchen job.
Okay. Lots of kitchen jobs.
Yeah, well, food prep. It's when you don't got any skills and no education. I was listening to Chris Rock the other day. He said, how did I end up working at like Red Lobster or whatever? Someone asked
Yeah.
him. He says, well, I got a minimum wage job because I dropped out of school in 10th grade, which was literally the most stupid thing he could do. Is
Yeah.
what he said.
Did he drop it? Did he actually drop out?
Yeah, he dropped out in
grade?
10th grade.
Wow.
And he said, you know what? That's just dumb, because what you should have done, if you're going to drop out of 10th grade, you should have dropped out in 2nd grade, because you're literally
the same thing.
the same qualified. You're qualified for the same amount of jobs. And by the way, if you drop out in 2nd grade, you have 8 years of work experience over someone who dropped out in 10th grade. So, no, so I didn't have any, so I worked kitchen. That was good. I got all my friends working there.
Yep.
And we would end up being in charge on the weekends, and we would go up on the roof and just hang out and look at the ocean, when we were done with our work, of course.
Of course.
And then they actually sent me to Santa Barbara, which was awesome, for the summer. And
Oh,
they paid for
the
my
work
apartment.
paid for you?
Yeah. I worked at Santa Barbara, Santa Barbara University or whatever it was called, Santa Barbara State.
You worked at a college?
Yeah, I worked in the summer preparing food.
Okay.
For people who were classical musicians. They went to summer camp, and so oboe
it's like
and
the whole camp,
flutist,
and they would come and
you
would make the food for them in the cafeteria or whatever.
Right. But then we all stayed in the same apartment complex, and
Yeah.
some of those flautists, man, they can blow. I mean, well, I'm not, the on the instrument. I mean, on the whatever, the piccolo. We'll just say that. Sorry, son. And then another one I had, which was kind of interesting. I was a PC 1000 drug diversion counselor.
What is that? What's PC 1000?
PC 1000, Penal Code 1000, first time offenders. So people who would get busted for the first time for using drugs or whatever it had to do with something about drug diversion, and they would send them to me instead of kind of like as probation. They'd have to go to their classes, go to their NA or AA classes, and they would come to me. And the interesting part about that, and yes, I was counseling them and teaching them the whole thing, but this sounds really odd. We used to sit in my office and with an ashtray between us, and we would both smoke cigarettes while I was counseling them
Oh, wow.
on not using drugs, which I find
That's funny.
ironic,
Yeah.
But back then you could sit and smoke right, in offices and with people. And so, yeah,
And
that was
nobody would care.
no. Everybody smoked. You
Oh.
think about it. All the drug addicts smoked, and
Yeah.
me and the other
Yeah,
drug
the
counselors also
non-drug users.
smoke cigarettes too.
Well,
Matter of fact,
do you anymore?
when I left that job, my coworkers gave me a lighter, and it was engraved. It said, "Keep going." And I'm like, keep going? Is that I'm leaving and they're telling me to keep getting away? But I don't think that's what it was. They were encouraging me to continue with school.
Yeah.
And that was when I was getting my master's degree. And I was in Bakersfield.
Sounds
so.
like it takes a long time to get a master's degree.
If getting your bachelor's degree takes you 6 years, like it did for me, then getting your master's degree took me another 2, which was obnoxious. I eventually paid those school loans back. So
Doesn't it? Okay, for school loans, after like 10 years of paying them monthly, don't they just disappear?
if you pay them down to 0.
I thought it was like if I rack up $30,000 in school loans, what my English teacher says, like if she doesn't miss a payment once after 10 years, it goes away.
No, if there's a balance, there's a balance.
Are you sure?
Yep, they'll get you.
Well,
Now, sometimes there's maybe she may be on a special thing where if you work 10 years, as a teacher, then they'll pay off the rest of your school loans because they want to encourage people to be teachers and things like that. So, what do you want to do when you grow up? If it's not,
what do I
if
wanna
it's not
do?
entertainment and YouTube and the rest of it, what's a realistic, regular Joe job?
Something something with like marketing or something like that.
Oh,
like
okay.
I kind of like making advertisements, not necessarily like the graphical side. Like I don't make my own graphics. I don't like making graphics, but something within marketing and like getting people to click on stuff and like looking at stuff and making it, I don't know, appealing. That's kind of how
media
thumbnails
marketing
and titles are.
Yeah. You kind of find the flashy parts, like you're going to tell about Dad being fired from McDonald's. And,
Yeah, that's probably what the title of this is.
Hey, my dad got fired. That would be a good one.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right,
maybe.
so we just made it.
Right
Social
on the
media
spot,
marketing right now.
Mid-video, yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is a pretty solid Father's Sunday. Lots of stories about jobs. Again, like I said, comment them down below in the comment section, your experiences with jobs, and we're shooting for 151 likes. That's the goal.
All right, my favorite is a hand.
All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It's been Quadmft, and I'm Audi 5000.
Or maybe a blow. I don't know.